But please help me welcome to the podium to receive the honorary degree, Dr. Khaled Hosseini. And it's now my pleasure to invite President Kwame to assist in the conferring of the honorary degree. Dr. Khaled Hosseini, who came to the United States as a teenager with his family seeking political asylum as a result of the Soviet invasion of his native Afghanistan, is best known for his highly acclaimed novel, The Kite Runner. Born in Kabul, Afghanistan, but raised in the Bay Area, Dr. Hosseini learned English, graduated from Santa Clara University, and earned a medical degree from the School of Medicine at the University of California, San Diego. Following a residency at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, he began his medical practice as an internist at Kaiser Permanente. During the early days of his practice, Dr. Hosseini began writing The Kite Runner. The novel is a profound story about honor and how it's tested by fate and misfortune. Its success is due to Dr. Hosseini's compassionate account, his beautiful writing, and his rare insights into the culture, geography, and history of Afghanistan, plus an exposition of the immigrant experience in California. The novel was on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 100 weeks. It has sold more than 10 million copies worldwide. It's received numerous prestigious awards and was made into a successful movie. His second novel, A Thousand Splendid Suns, was published in spring 2007, and it's been optioned, and we hope we'll get to see it in theater soon. Since achieving international celebrity, Dr. Hosseini has used this platform to give back. He's established a foundation to support the people of Afghanistan and has helped foster understanding of Afghan culture by visiting university campuses. The Kite Runner was the freshman reading list. It was on the freshman reading list at Cal State University East Bay in the fall of 2007. And Dr. Hosseini has also spoken at San Jose State University, where a stage adaptation of his book was performed by students in 2007. In 2006, Dr. Hosseini was named a Goodwill Envoy to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and was one of 6 recipients of the University of California, San Diego Alumni Association Award of Excellence. In recognition of his outstanding service to his community, his many literary achievements, and his commitment to higher education, the Board of Trustees of California State University and California State University East Bay are very proud to confer to Khaled Hosseini the honorary degree of Doctor of Fine Arts. Congratulations. I invite the audience to congratulate Dr. Hosseini and for Dr. Hosseini to say a few remarks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, President Kwame. Thank you, Jeffrey Bleich. Thank you, whoever blew that horn. Thank you to all the trustees and everybody here at Cal State University for this recognition. It's really a great honor for me to be the recipient of this Doctorate of Fine Arts, and it's certainly very fitting that it comes from CSU, this educational powerhouse in the Bay Area, a place that I've happily lived nearly 2/3 of my life now, and a region that is home to tens of thousands of fellow Afghans. You know, even though this is a prideful moment for me personally and for my family, I would really like to spend the next few minutes talking about you guys. This is, you know, after all, a happy day for you as well. And this is a moment to be savored, and you've certainly earned the right to relish it. Congratulations to all of you. Today, after this ceremony is done, you should go out and celebrate with your family. You should eat a good meal. And you should go to sleep tonight knowing that you've passed a major landmark in your life and that you have every reason to be pleased with and proud of yourselves. But if I may, I want to offer you a gentle word of caution. And that is, don't be too proud of yourself. And don't pat yourself too hard on the back. You know, I take nothing away from your accomplishments, from your years of hard work, and all the midnight oil you've burned to get where you are today. I commend you for that, and I congratulate you. But if you really think about it, possibly one of the biggest reasons why you're sitting in those seats today about to receive your diplomas has little to do with you or anything that you did. And for that, you can thank pure, sheer, dumb luck. Certainly not to impugn any of you or your hard work, but it was random luck, after all, that you were conceived by your particular set of parents. And it was random luck that those parents happened to live in this corner of the world where you never lack for shelter, where you get to drink clean water, where you never go hungry, and where you get to reap the fruits of an education at Cal State University. So be grateful is what I'm saying, and be humble. And don't mislead yourself into thinking that you fully deserve everything that you've got. In the words of Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven, deserve's got nothing to do with it. You have worked hard, but you are also lucky. I am lucky, and the fine folks sitting behind me are lucky. We have all hit upon a grand cosmic lottery. Almost certainly, your fates and mine would have turned out completely differently if we'd been born, say, in a remote village in Sierra Leone or in the deserts of South Sudan. The truth is that none of us gathered today can be said to be proper representatives of this planet. Not you, not me, and not the fine folks sitting here with me. We are the exception. And if a spaceship were to land today and little green aliens waddled out with the mission to take a sample of 100 human beings from Earth and take them back home to study, that likely wouldn't take very many of us, because we're not, in the end, proper ambassadors for this planet, because we live lives so radically different from those of most of people on this still fundamentally impoverished planet. We live one set of realities, you and I, and much of the world lives another. So if the green little aliens were to actually scout this planet, here's what they would find. That of the 2.2 billion children in the world, half of them live in poverty. That 25,000 kids die every day. And by the time I'm done speaking this sentence, another child will have died of hunger, poverty, or preventable illness. That over 20 million people live uprooted lives as refugees or displaced people, an issue that is close and dear to my own heart given my Afghan origins. That 1.1 billion people live on less than $1.25 a day, and that nearly half the planet, that's 3 billion people, live on less than $2.50 a day. Almost 800 million people in the developing world are chronically undernourished, and nearly 1 billion people entered this century unable to read or even sign their names. That is the reality of the planet that we share, you and I. And how can this be? How can this go on in this, the age of genetic engineering and satellites in space and robots studying rocks on the surface of Mars, and this, the age of Facebook and Twitter and iPhone and the Kindle and the hybrid car? How can so much of the world live in such deprivation? And how come we don't hear more about it? In a sane world, wouldn't calamity of this scale be front page headlines and primetime news leading story every single night? Why are we more interested in the Octomom's book deal or every trivial detail of John and Kate Gosling's marital woes than the fact, for instance, that average life expectancy in Afghanistan is an astonishing 43 years? Poverty in the world that you as CSU graduates are about to enter has causes that are as diverse as they are complex, and I can't simplify them. Economic factors, economic degradation, poor governance in developing countries, corruption, war, social inequality, overpopulation, and others. Some of those factors, even we in the privileged world cannot affect adequately. But many of them we can. How come then we haven't done more to defeat world poverty? Is it because we don't notice? Or is it something more sinister, that we just don't care? Well, there may be something to that, and in fact, I think there's a lot to that. Because I feel personally, and I realize this isn't a particularly an enlightened position, I feel personally that among the villains in this so-called war on poverty, the Darth Vader of them all is apathy, and its insidious, enormous negative power. It was Helen Keller who said, "Science may have found a cure for most evils, but it has found no remedy for the worst of them all, the apathy of human beings." The uncharitable explanation for apathy is to say that we're a selfish people, that we in the rich industrialized nations have become lulled in self-centered lives of comfort, that we're a tranquilized people entangled in the pursuit of luxury and self-gratification and entertainment, and that we don't take time to think about the hardships of people less fortunate than ourselves, and therefore we do nothing. The great physician William Osler said, "By far the most dangerous foe we have to fight is apathy, indifference from whatever cause, not from a lack of knowledge, but from carelessness, from absorption in other pursuits, from a contempt bred of self-satisfaction." And I think there's an element of truth in that, but I think it's both unfair and definitely a jaundiced view of human nature. And I personally prefer a less cynical explanation. And I think apathy is born from the belief that we are helpless, that suffering is pervasive and a way of life as long as there have been people on this planet, that poverty and the associated suffering are both ubiquitous and inevitable in the human experience. The suffering in this world is so widespread and of such mass scale that we feel overwhelmed by it. We're defeated by it, and slowly we turn fatalistic and we lose our sense of moral urgency. Our perception of impotence at the face of all this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and gradually we lose our impetus to relieve suffering. Why try when we can't change anything anyway? Well, if you remember anything from what I tell you today, I ask that you remember this. And if I'm grandstanding, then you have my heartfelt apologies. But when you hand people like me a ladder, I'm going to climb a soapbox. So what I want you to remember is this. Yes, go out and find work that fulfills you. Make an honest living and get the things you want. Marry somebody you love. Start your life. Live a full life. But don't live an insular life. Never lose sight of the fact that you are few who have hit the lottery, and always remember those who haven't. In the greater narrative of your own life, make sure to create room for those who, as the fable goes, suffered the most and cry out the least. The East Bay is a wonderful, culturally rich and diverse region and a wonderful place to live. But I suggest that at some point you get a passport. Travel and read. Meet people from other walks of life and see for yourself that the world is much broader, and that it's a world that extends well beyond mine and your fortunate lives. And it's a world where there's beauty, grace, and kindness, but also a world racked by social injustice and brutality and hunger and suffering. And if what you find moves you, if it inspires you, if it enrages you, if it compels you, then act out of it. Because I tell you that you are not helpless. You are young and resourceful and educated and capable and talented, and you can always help, be it as an individual, as part of a family, a congregation, or a community. Don't let yourself fall to apathy. You're not helpless, and you can change things. Everything you do matters, and nothing that you do is too small when you help a fellow human being on this planet whose only sin is to be less lucky than you. I'll close by saying, as Winston Churchill said, you make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give. So congratulations, and thank you so much.